Welcome to AtScale Tech Talk. I'm Elif Tutuk, Vice President of Product at AtScale.
And hi, I'm Dave Moriani. I'm the CTO and co-founder of AtScale.
Today, we are covering our game-changing product innovations and exploring AtScale's vision for the next phase of the universal semantic layer within the modern data stack. This vision truly empowers business units by enabling federated analytics product creation. And to add that even more excitement to our discussion, we have a live product demo lined up. Right, Dave?
Yeah, Elif, and I'm really excited about this because, the original vision for founding AtScale was to make data available for everyone, not just techies, not just people who understand databases, who understand how to write SQL, but to really make it easy by creating this business-friendly view of data so that anybody can ask questions about their data. And we also made sure that, we could bring that data to wherever they lived. So rather than having specialized tools, even tools like Power BI and Tableau can sometimes be pretty advanced for most users because most people spend their time in spreadsheets, right, Elif? So Excel is where they want to live. So we made sure that we could make the semantic layer, that business-friendly representation, work for every user, no matter what their skill level, and wherever they lived and did their work, which a lot of times is spreadsheets.
So let's expand on the key features of the semantic layer in the modern data stack and how they have been instrumental in shaping our vision. So the first feature is actually one of my favorite, in particular because I think it has been your guiding star when you started AtScale.
Yeah, really, it's all about making everybody a data product creator, and really, that means distributing that ability to actually create those data products to the business. So it's not just IT who controls the data; it's really the IT or the Data Central data team may create and manage the platforms that allows the business to create their own data products and ask their own questions about that data.
Yeah, and this brings the second important aspect of a universal semantic layer, which is its ability to welcome all data and analytics roles and personas, from data engineers and analytics engineers to BI developers. Whether they are engaged in non-code or code-based semantic modeling efforts, all aimed at making data business ready. And of course, additionally, the universal semantic layer should be open and accessible for all the analytics and AI consumers, providing them with a wealth of analytics-rich data resources.
Yeah, and Elif, we can't forget about the importance of cloud optimization. So again, by tracking user activities, what they're asking for, what's important to them, a good semantic layer can really bring and optimize cloud spend by creating aggregates and making queries more efficient so that the cloud data platform has to do less work. So more questions, less cost.
I believe the summary we have discussed so far effectively underscores the significance of the semantic layer within the modern data stack. Now, let's shift our focus to our latest product innovations, which are designed to enable the federated analytics product creation in organizations by actively involving the business units. This groundbreaking initiative is what we term the analytics mesh. Dave, could you please explain the concept of analytics mesh with a practical use case example?
Yeah, look at what you see here on the screen. What you have is you have four different business domains. Three business domains, marketing, sales, and finance. And then you have a center of excellence or traditionally what has been IT or the central data team. And what you can see here is in the middle is all the assets that can be created and managed by the semantic layer. So for example, the central data team may create some base objects, some fundamental components like a time hierarchy so that everybody's speaking the same language when it comes to days and time. And so you could see here they create a date dimension. And then you could see that with that date dimension now you can see the other domains of finance and marketing and sales can now take advantage of that time hierarchy. So not only do they not have to create their own time hierarchy and time dimension, they can also be sure that they're all using the same one, managed by that center of excellence. And then you could see, for example, that the marketing team is owning the campaign dimensions because they're running marketing campaigns. You see, sales has their sales model, and that's how they track how they're doing reaching their quota attainment. You got finance who's owning the cost model. So they're determining, how much things cost and managing that in their own model. But if you can see the sort of a composite model right there in the middle. So it's a combination of marketing's marketing model along with finance's cost model. And together we can then do campaign ROI. So you can see how these pieces fit together. It makes it really easy to create new mashups and new models with very little effort, with consistency, and without having each domain having to understand the other domain's business. So I think Aleph, you talk about it as being Lego blocks, and I think that's a really good description of it.
Yes, Dave. This is like a dream coming true. It's about giving Lego blocks or building blocks to let the business units to innovate with governance, right? It's when you think about Lego blocks, it's all about innovation. And this is how we can let the business units to innovate with data, with governance in place. And this is what we call as the analytics mesh, as you have summarized. So before we delve into the product demo, I have one last question on my mind. How do you envision the establishment of a universal semantic hub feeding these composable semantic objects into those analytics meshes?
Yeah, that's a great question, Aleph, because the semantic concept of the semantic layer has been around for a long time. Traditionally, it's been embedded in the BI tools. Think of, Power BI has their own semantic layer. Tableau has their own semantic layer. The old tools like Cognos and Business Objects had their own semantic layers. You also have semantic layers embedded in the data platforms in the form of reporting views and tables, or the medallion architecture. So really, what's really important here is that we can take the semantic layer and we'll have it stand alone and be independent of consumption and of the data. And that gives us the flexibility of really putting a logical view on top of that data and changing that as the business changes. So given that the reality that there's multiple semantic layers that exist out there, we've come up with this concept of a semantic hub, where we can actually translate each of these different semantic layers wherever they may be living, including DBT and Looker and all the newer semantic layers, as well as the legacy semantic layers like Tableau and Power BI. And we can actually serve them all up in a single view of the business. So whether you're using Tableau or Excel or Power BI or Looker, what have you, or Jupyter Notebook, you're going to be able to see all your business metrics and your business dimensions, all your semantics and business semantics in one place, regardless of where they started from. So that semantic hub, Aleph, really makes it possible to really unify this really sort of scattered and complicated environment to give users one view of their business.
I love this idea, Dave. So let's have the fun part start. Could you please demo the DBT integration, where AtScale interprets the DBT model and metrics and serves them and making those metrics available to all of the BI tools?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's get to the fun part, Aleph. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how we can take the Jaffle Shop metrics model from DBT. It's in DBT's GitHub repo. And we're going to turn that set of code, that set of markup language, into a real model, and then serve it using the tools that people want to use, like Power BI, Excel, and Tableau. So let's go from a bunch of YAML in GitHub's repo, in DBT's GitHub repo, and let's turn that into real living data where users can actually explore it and ask questions about it. So let's go. Okay, so what do we have here? So first we're starting with DBT Labs Jaffle Shop metrics. This is their sample project for their semantic models. You can go right here. This is the GitHub our repo reference that you can go and check it out for yourself. So what you can see here is we're talking about code, right? We're talking about a mixture of YAML files and SQL files. And so this is great for the developer. I encourage that, you should have two interfaces, right? The developer should be able to write code, and then a business analyst should be able to use a GUI. But we're going to turn this into a visual model. So we're going to go from code, and we're going to turn it into a visual model. So let's go ahead and let's go and do just that. So we're going to start with, I put together a little shell script. So we're going to be making a REST call to the AtScale server. I'm just going to tail my little shell script here and show you that there's two parts to this this curl. You can see the inbound resource is pointing to the Jaffle Shop GitHub repo. So we're going to operate this in the cloud. And then you can see the outbound resource is actually to AtScale. So we're going to take that model, and we're actually going to install it in AtScale. And what you can see down below in actions, you can see that we're actually going to orchestrate dbt core here. So we're going to run the dbt model that's required for this semantic model, and then we're going to load it into AtScale, and then we're going to deploy it in AtScale using publish AtScale in action. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's run that now. So I'm just going to go ahead and run it from my terminal. And then I'm going to switch over to my log here. It's already going. And what you can see here is that we're actually reading and compiling that dbt semantic model. And then what you can see right now is that we're actually running dbt core here. So we're running the models, which is persisting these tables with all their transformations into Google BigQuery in this case. And you can see that's 11 steps. AtScale server is doing all of this. So all I had to do is call that endpoint, and AtScale will figure out exactly what needs to happen to make this model and turn it into something that's servable to all these different BI tools. So just like that, we've actually converted it. We've actually deployed it in AtScale. I'm now going to click our little handy link there, and we can go and check out what that model looks like in AtScale Design Center. AtScale Design Center is our visual modeling environment. So what you can see here is you can see Jaffle Shop is now become an AtScale model, and it's a visual model. So you got the best of both worlds. You got your code, but then you got something that you can actually touch and feel visually. You can see that we have our dimensions and our measures. We have the concept of hierarchies, of course, because you want to do drill down. It's a fully multidimensional model now. It's not just flat data sitting in tables anymore. We have the concept of relationships. We're relating those facts to those dimensions, which are shown there in green. We have hierarchies for dates, so we can drill down, and that's all defined in this visual model. So now that we can see what that looks like, let's go and check it out and see what it looks like for a consumer. So I'm going to start with Tableau, and then I'm going to move over to Excel and to Power BI. So you get a real good flavor for how this semantic model and looks like in all these different tools. So let's log in. I'm using my own Active Directory credentials. So I'm logging as myself, using my single sign-on into Tableau in this case. I'm going to log into the endpoint for AtScale. And what you see there is There's Jaffle Shop, and there's all my data in different folders, all my metadata in different folders. We haven't imported data into Tableau. It's really important that this data that you see here is just metadata. So we haven't done it as an extract. That would be cheating. We're going to operate on this data live, and I'm just going to go ahead and double click on order count. Let's look at food orders. Let's look at large orders. Let's make it a bar chart. That's no fun. Let's look at it by some dimensions, like by some dates. Let's start with the year level and look at my data by year. And let's drill down. This is what OLAP is about, right? So we're drilling down now on all these, on this data. So this is all running live queries against BigQuery. The data didn't move. The data stayed exactly where it landed, and we're just able to deal with it now. So, okay, so far so good. Well, let's move on and let's check out Excel. If you notice, I'm clicking on our copy button on the MDX endpoint. What does that mean? We're not using an add-in here. A lot of tools will use add-ins to integrate with Excel, and that's not the way Excel wants to work. Excel wants to work just like the built-in connector to analysis services. This is what Microsoft built Excel live pivot tables for. So we are using MDX because that is what Excel wants to speak. And here we go. There's Jaffle Shop. You can see we're able to select it here and select it as a live pivot table report. And just like that, there's our metadata. So you saw our metadata in Tableau. Now you're seeing it in Excel. And I didn't have to model data. We're not going to dump raw data in and then start to create a pivot table on the raw data in the sheet, because that would be creating data copies. That would be creating a risk because that data is now sitting in that spreadsheet. So we're just going to go ahead and click on our orders, our food orders, our large orders, so you can see how that works in Excel. Let's look at, there's that hierarchy. So I'll go ahead and look at that. You can see how fast my data comes back. I want to look at it in rows, so it's easier to work with. And now I'm going to start to drill down right here in the sheet. This is making live queries back to AtScale, a semantic layer, which is making live queries to BigQuery. That's happening in real time. So look what I can do here. If I can convert this pivot table to formulas in Excel. Why can I do that? Because it's natively integrated with Excel. You can see how in the function bar, formula bar, you can see that these cells are now cube value cells. That means that they're coordinates, and those coordinates can be moved anywhere you want in your workbook. And Excel will keep track of those because they're coordinates. And when my data, I want to refresh my data, I click refresh, and it'll get the new data from the warehouse without any copy and pasting. These are live cells. Okay, so let's go and do the same thing and look and see how Power BI works. Well, we're not going to create a Power BI import. We're actually going to go ahead and use the built-in analysis services DAX connector. So we're connecting now to AtScale with DAX. So you've seen, and we're not going to connect with the import, we're connecting live. So you've seen, for example, you've seen Tableau speak SQL to the semantic layer. You've seen Excel speak MDX. Now you're seeing Power BI speak DAX. That's what a good semantic layer has to do. It needs to be able to handle multiple dialects because it needs to integrate natively with your BI tool. So just like that, there's our same metadata. You can see in the right-hand corner there, lower corner, it's live connected. It's not direct query, which is slow. It's not an import, which creates data copies. It's live. And just like that, I can go ahead and create my visualization. I didn't do a stitch of data modeling here. Just like that, I have my live data just to show you that we didn't cheat. Look at if I click on that data model tab and zoom out, you can see that Power BI inherited the data model from that AtScale semantic layer. Guess what, everybody? That is Jaffle Shop's model in Power BI without having to do any kind of extra work. No remodeling, no importing, no copying, no jank. So just like that, I hope you got a really good view. But one more thing. How did that all happen? Well, you know what? The magic that happened, I'm gonna pull back the curtain for you here. And I'm gonna go to our query logs. And just like that, what you can see is we have all of our logs. These are all the queries I just ran for you in those 3 different tools. And you can see that I can look at all the different dialects that were inbound. Of course, the outbound dialect was BigQuery. We translated our SQL to BigQuery SQL, MDX to BigQuery SQL, and DAX to BigQuery SQL. And we did all that automatically. And why is it so fast? Why was it 511 milliseconds to run that query? Because we built AGs automatically based on the user query patterns. So aggregate tables in BigQuery, no reason to do anything extra. That was all done automatically by the platform. No designer, no IT, no data engineering required. So just like that, you want to serve your semantic models, the AtScale Semantic Hub can do that for you. You can write it in any language you want, and we'll serve it and make it work with any consumption tool you wish.
Wow, Dave, this was amazing. It's like a dream coming true. AtScale is the intelligent semantic layer that talks all of the semantic languages, serving all semantic models in one hub and feeding the analytics meshes of the business units with the governance, but given the freedom to innovate with data. Amazing. So I think this brings us to our closing comment. The universal semantic layer welcomes all data and analytics personas, as you can see in this on this slide.
Yes, whether it's code or no code. So whether you're a business analyst who wants to use a GUI, whether you're a software developer who wants to write code, we have a semantic modeling interface for you. That's going to allow multiple personas to work and create these semantic models and empower the business to work with business-friendly, user-friendly, governed semantic objects so they can ask the questions they need to ask to do their business.
With that, we would like to thank you all for joining us in this fun tech talk where we have the opportunity to expose our game-changing product innovations. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.